where I have people come in at that end in the office, which I'll show you in a minute. Then they come straight down here, and this is my counseling room here. And then, of course, the master bedroom, which is probably the bigger of the rooms.
So, like,
Wow.
and talk a little bit about what sort of counseling you do. Oh, there's a Claudia.
I'm a counselor and hypnotherapist. I use hypnosis and other tools that have to do with reaching the subconscious mind in the counseling dynamic. Do everything from working with habit-breaking long-term habits to long-term illnesses, depression, anxiety. Work with performance, musicians, athletics, etc., children, problems, all kinds of learning issues with children. So, try to spread the things.
And how long did it take you to redevelop that whole skill set and stuff like that?
Well, I had started in Chicago. I took a course there. I started with weekend. Someone asked me weekend courses. That's okay, as long as I'm meeting. Weekend courses that had to do with what they call wakeful dreaming, which is a dialoguing with the person's visual interior, so to speak. They imagine themselves in different places and side themselves, and then you dialogue with them, and it was very revealing. And then it was suggested, well, I think you'd be great with hypnosis. So the day I finished the hypnotherapy school, I came here right after that and immediately began school here to pass the state boards for massage therapy, which I also was doing for 2 years in Chicago. So I had to do that here because they weren't grandfathering at the time till halfway through school when they decided to do that sort of thing. But I wanted to do half and half because of the strong belief in the body-mind connection. But then I had a car accident at some point, and so then I ended up doing hypnosis and counseling all the time, full time. So basically, it's my primary tools.
And then
And I do counseling when people need
and then
it.
you got a master's degree then.
Yeah, I got well, I finished my bachelor's when I was 66, and 68 I got my master's degree. So that was kind of nice. Everybody said, well, why do you need it? You're already successful. But I saw a picture of a woman who was in her 80s who had gotten her high school diploma, and nobody was asking her what she was going to use it for or why she'd get it. So I decided I'm getting it. So.
How'd you celebrate?
I don't know. How did we celebrate? Dinner, I guess.
Oh, we had some.
I don't know. It was fairly low key, I think. Anyway. So this is what I do full time now, and write books that other therapists use. So I have 2 more books. I have 4 books, 4 or 5 books plus a curriculum for children, working on with children, and I have 2 more books that are in the proofreader's hands and things that other therapists use. So it's fun.
Wow.
So I have, someone asked, well, when are you going to retire? I said, well, probably when I start forgetting who my clients are. This morning, I was on the phone. My client walked in, I sent her off into the room. I was working with someone on the webpage, redesigning the webpage. I'm talking with him, we're trying to get this done. She comes out finally, after sitting for a half hour. So I thought, it's the first time that ever happened in all these years. So I thought, well, it could be coming sooner than I ever thought. But I hope not. I like doing it.
Fred Landfear last weekend was at some sort of an elders conference,
Oh.
and he got a poem by Billy Collins called Forgetfulness.
Oh.
And he read it to us. And the first the title goes, then the author, then the plot, the heartbreaking conclusion, and finally the book itself, so you think you've never read it.
I think there's something to it.
Pretty good.
It's a good analogy, I'll tell you. It really is. Well, and then when we first came, the very first thing that had to be done was to have an office for me. So we took out 3/4 of the garage. This is designed, put in doorways, put in window, and lifted the floor. The whole thing is set though, so that if we sold the house and someone really wanted the full garage back, it's fairly easy to come down. But I suspect that most people these days will want the
The
space.
space for an office.
Anyway, it has an
yeah.
exterior door. People come in that way because I'm usually on the computer a few moments before between clients. So they come in there, which is nice because they come by the rose garden. And then we go head on down that way.
How many folks
so
do you
I
work with?
try to keep separate my
Like,
council.
like how many folks you're working with actively at this point?
Oh my.
There's like 600 or 20 or...
These 2 drawers full of files are current. And then I have 4 cabinets downstairs full of archives.
Wow.
So I'm full-time. One of the few in my field that's full-time. A lot of people are doing it part-time or something.
Yeah, she's known all over the world, actually. Her books have been translated into several languages.
Current French is the most current. Chinese before that now. Started with Danish, then Spanish. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I have to admit my ego gets a little stroked. I don't mind saying it. Everybody has some ego. This is the rest of our place. When we came, this is what we had to design all this pretty much when we came, although this section was kind of roughly filled in, but we finished it off so we'd have a place. Right now all those boxes are my baseball card collection, which has got to be ready to sell. I'm getting rid of it because I don't do it. I do baseballs, but all my baseballs.
When did this come from? This? The counseling, the books I can believe, but baseballs and baseball card, this is a new dimension.
Yes.
Well, my family unfortunately goes clear back to baseball stuff. My father was in baseball, and I just got a hold of it as soon as we got out the order. I started
that
back
right?
in. Well, we were big
We were baseball fans.
baseball fans in Chicago and with the Cubs, and then here. Anyway, the right.
So do you have a 1956 Mickey Mantle?
I have Mickey Mantle in there. Nicholas Mantle, I do. I have Mickey Mantle. I have a few others. I know Ted Williams and Hank Aaron and a few of those. These are all the Hall of Famers here. These are Mariners.
Heaven's
So-
sakes.
Anyway, it's one of those things that was fun, but
Yeah.
I don't do
That's
too much of it
right.
right now.
That's right.
Anyway, I'm getting that stuff already, so it's kind of a mess. Now, this is, Justin needed a place to, something. He had the upstairs, the 3rd floor of the house we're in, a section of it for his study, but this makes it a little better for him. And of course, we needed an extra bedroom. The only problem is, this was built in the beginning of the 50s. So that 1 bathroom for the house was the norm.
That's right.
This was a full basement at one time, and it's only had 1 owner before us. And so he built this in a bit, but we then finished up the walls, put a wall in there, the door, and so forth. And shelving behind there has a bunch of stuff that came from the other house. And then Justin's going to shift this whole room and put a door in, and we're going to put in a bathroom here.
Oh,
So this weekend, this past weekend, was very busy trying to clean up and figure out where we'd put everything.
You can guess that this space was not empty.
No.
It was crammed with
Yes.
stuff.
So you can see we have still a very large section. It would have more space for the family, I suppose, except there's cupboards all along there and a back door, and that's all stuff for my books and supplies.
I haven't seen this many boxes and file cabinets since I was in
know.
the basement of that building.
These are all related to clients and what have you. So
So they had to come in and
yeah,
they will.
and then all that,
Dig up this floor and
I clean out
put it
and get
then
things
I will
ready
do
for
all the
shredder and
framing
all that.
stuff. And I won't do the electric, but I'll do the rest.
in your spare time.
In
Yeah.
his spare time.
Yeah, I love to do that. So
Well, in fact, I told him, I said, he always wants to do everything quickly and fast and get it all done. I said, what will you do for your other projects? So when we run out of projects, he's in trouble. So. He told us when we left Chicago, I left before he did. He says, get an apartment, I don't want a garden. I said to myself, I am not doing any more apartment living. So I said, okay. In my mind, I said, there are two things I'm getting when I get to Tacoma. We're renting a big house, and I'm getting a Steinway piano to go in it. So that's what
she did. She got the Steinway piano first, and they said, where do we deliver it? She says, I don't know yet where it's going.
When he came, he walked in this house, wonderful house that we were renting, and there was a beat-up old chair and stool that I'd found in the basement, a mattress from the bed of my folks, and the piano.
And I didn't know she'd gotten it.
Oh. Yeah.
So it was
Anyway.
very exciting.
My father, who, bless his heart, didn't know he paid for it when he died, that he didn't know that's what he was going to pay for.
You know, this is occurs to me. This is an untold story in the legacy of ICA. Is some of these long-running love affairs that have just gone on and on and on and on.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
we've had to make adjustments from big house. In the big house, I was able to have a lot more things up within view.
she's a collector of autographs too. You can see this is a
These are just
minimal, tiny bit of the collection of
The others are
hundreds
upstairs
and
on
hundreds of.
I've got several
autograph
books
things.
underneath
Robert
the coffee
Redford,
table upstairs,
oh
and
my gosh.
a couple others down here.
Is
One
this
of
Margaret
political
Mead?
figures. Now that's
Who's this?
Eleanor. Hitting the piano, kept hitting every corner I went around,
Oh, yeah.
because I've been used to.
Yeah.
Big
The house
space.
before, the living room was the length that allowed 2 seating areas and the piano between it.
It was 32 feet long.
So, and then it had a side formal dining room. So that's why we were able to have the recitals every couple of years and have the Christmas things, because it was a wonderful house for being able to move easily around. So the two things I probably miss the most in terms of just our personal life or living in the house is space for the music and the ability to have more people, when you want them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Because-
biggest thing we had here was her 70th birthday, and it was, just jammed.
You can't
with
get into
people,
the bathroom, for instance,
It's just
when you have that many
crowded.
people. It's,
But it was here.
I mean, it works fine. We're
It's
okay.
just not.
And in the nice weather, of course, the yard is plenty sizable. You can do things in it. But I missed that part of it. But otherwise, the house has been really quite fine.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to adjust for the work, my business. Because in the other one, people came in to the entry and walked upstairs, and they never walked through the rest of the house. But we wanted to be in this area, and getting a house we could afford in this area was very difficult.
Is it?
And this one was pretty beat up, and the guy wanted to get rid of it. His mother died in it, So we felt like it would serve our purposes fine because we felt we needed to
So we could,
downsize.
when we could sell the other house, we could pay cash for this house.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
still put money into retirement, so it was great.
Yeah.